Hello, and welcome to Under the Radar with Tim Peacock, and the latest in our series of exclusive interviews. In this episode, I speak to Michael Weston King, the enduring English singer-songwriter who has been releasing records synonymous with quality for well over 30 years. Having initially fronted pioneering UK roots rock outfit The Good Sons, Michael has assembled an impressive collection of solo releases over the past 25 years. He's collaborated with numerous trailblazing singer-songwriters, not least Jackie Leaven and legendary Texan Townes Van Zandt, in addition to recording for respected independent labels including Cherry Red and Glitterhouse. More recently, he's reached a new audience through releasing a string of acclaimed albums with his partner Lou Dalgleish under the name My Darling Clementine. Just prior to joining us on Under the Radar, Michael has released his new solo album, Nothing Can Hurt Me Anymore, on the Continental Song City label. The record has already been widely acclaimed, with Americana UK's recent 10 out of 10 review describing it as one of the most emotive and introspective albums of recent years. In the interview that follows, Michael talks about his wider career in music and speaks candidly about the truly exceptional circumstances that led to him writing the highly personal songs he recorded for Nothing Can Hurt Me Anymore. Hello Michael, welcome to the podcast. It's great.
Hi Tim, nice to be here.
Thank you very much. Well, we have something in common because we're both originally from, or at least we did a lot of our growing up in Southport. And Southport is relevant to the contents of your new album. But before I ask you about that, tell me a little bit about growing up in Southport and some of the best concerts that you went to locally.
Oh, the best concerts. Oh,
yeah.
Right, okay, yeah. Well, as you well know, Tim, Southport was something of a cultural desert.
Yeah.
So most of the best concerts weren't there. We had to, get on the train and go to Liverpool or Manchester to spend our nights at universities or the Royal Court or Eric's or wherever we went to get our musical fix. I think the first concerts I went to, though, in Southport, probably accompanied by my mum, was to go and see, Mud or Sweet at the Floral Hall. Over the years, I mean, some of the...
Were you a junior glam rocker then? Would you call yourself that?
I don't think I ever went there.
Yeah.
I definitely had platform shoes. Yeah, I definitely had some platform shoes, which I can still to this day remember buying them, and they were on the floor in my bedroom, and I just couldn't get to sleep. I was so excited looking at them. My inner Dave Hill was clearly coming out. But I don't know. I don't think I ever got to the eyeliner stage. A pair of platforms and a nice wide Oxford bag was probably the measure of it, really. But I know, well, like anybody growing up at that time, I mean, Mark Bolan was a hero, but at the time I probably couldn't differentiate between a genius like him or David Bowie and Mud or Gary Glitter. They were just what was in the charts, and that's what you bought and you went to see. But obviously as time wore on, I became less Les Gray and a bit more Brian Ferry.
That's an interesting way of putting it anyway. But I mean, and obviously I know that you're influenced by and have worked with some great singer-songwriters. Did you see any great singer-songwriters play? Places like the Arts Centre used to have shows on quite a lot, didn't they? So
they did, yeah. Well, I was, when I was kind of old enough, I started to go to the Bothy Folk Club.
Yeah.
And people who played there that I watched open-eyed have become friends. People like Clive Gregson. Clive was a regular at the Bothy. But then also Southport Arts Centre, as it was called then, would have people like Loudon Wainwright came and played there. Richard Thompson, I remember being at those gigs. There may even been put on by the Bothy, I don't know. But yeah, there was, occasionally things that came through that were of interest to me, but they were few and far between, and we had to go to Liverpool or Manchester really to get our proper fix.
Yeah, quite understood. I do remember the Loudon Wainwright gig though, because I was actually at that one. I remember that too. And I also remember going to see Ted Hawkins. I think it might have been '86 the following year.
Yeah.
So we did sporadically. There was some good things that did come through there, certainly. But
yeah, I know, absolutely. It's just, and when it did, it was like, oh wow, you know, maybe we haven't been forgotten here in Southport, you know. But because of the geography of the town, so close to Liverpool, so close to Manchester, you know, bigger names wouldn't need to come and play Southport.
No,
it's not like the old days, you know, the 60s and when the Beatles would be playing at the Kingsway Casino, but then and then the next night playing 10 minutes up the road. You know, the touring schedules of the 70s and 80s.
Oh, I know.
You only played one town in that area, and obviously it would either be Liverpool or Manchester for us. You know,
the package tours of the day.
This
is just it, isn't it? Really. So I know. Yeah, this is it. Well, anyway, to come forward, obviously your new album does relate to Southport. In the sense that your new album is called Nothing Can Hurt Me Anymore. It's just out on the Continental Song City label, which was released on the 4th of April, so just recently. Unfortunately, as I said in my introduction, it came about as a result of exceptional personal circumstances for you, because your beautiful little granddaughter Bebe was killed in a dreadful attack in Southport, which made the media in 2024, which is an awful thing. Obviously, on a personal level, I can't even imagine how you must have felt, and I don't want to ask you to revisit that. But it is relevant to the content of the new album. So maybe could you tell me about how it affected your songwriting and maybe the songs that ended up on the album? What difference did it make? I imagine quite a lot.
Well, when something as major as that happens, whatever you are, you know, either a songwriter or a painter, or if you are a creative, it's impossible for that incident or something of that magnitude not to infuse your work. And that's what's happened. But that's always been the case all over my life. You know, when any event has happened, you document it. And in my case, I document it in songs. So I was always. You know, my nature would be that I would write about what happened from different perspectives, not just the incident itself, but the various other things that happened around it. And I just had to. I mean, I just had to write it out. Since this new record's come out, and I've been back out touring again, and continuing to write, maybe not as much at the moment, but I've not been writing about that, you know. So maybe I have written it out, but I had to do it. There's 11 songs on the new album. 5 stroke 6 deal with, you know, losing Bebe and events around the family tragedy. But yeah, I just had to write it out, and I think I've done that, but who knows, it might resurface again in a couple of years, or maybe it's now exercised and I'm move on to something else. Yeah,
I think, well, I don't want to dwell on it too much. Some of the best songs on the album, like The Golden Hour and La Bamba in the Rain, they do talk about it in different ways. I like the fact that one of the things that comes through with a lot of the reviews, actually, words like grace and dignity are being used in the reviews, and I like the fact that you have written, your response has been very personal to it, but I think you have responded in a very dignified way to it. I think a lot of other people maybe would have made all sorts of political collateral out of it or whatever, you know. So
well,
you know.
Some people certainly have, without getting too much into that. But I think with the record, I mean, I didn't want it to be a misery fest. I just wrote what came naturally. So yes, there are some sad songs on the record, but there's also some songs of positivity. Kind of not celebrating life, well, appreciating life. When you lose something like this, you know, when something like this happens and you lose a family member at such a young age, you know, it's terrible. But you also do appreciate life and how precious it is, and so some of the songs are a celebration of that, but of course some also are a meditation on what has been lost.
Yeah, of course, absolutely. I mean, I think the reviews you've been getting for the record have been absolutely amazing. I mean, it's been attracted almost unanimous praise. I mean, if I may quote Uncut, they said both Requiem and Reckoning, the songs are an attempt to understand the unimaginable, but there is grace as well as grief. Which I think does pretty much say it all, really. Have you been surprised by the critical response to the record?
Well, without being arrogant, I think it is a good record, and I think it does warrant the plaudits. I mean, obviously, it's slightly tempered because
of course.
you could say, well, who's going to slag off a record that's written about this subject? But I think a lot of the reviews are very genuine in what they're saying, and not that I sit and listen to my record very much, but I did have to listen to it again the other day for something. I thought, I'm pleased with it, and I think it is a good record, and I want as many people to hear it as possible for various reasons. Am I surprised? Not really. No, I'm not surprised it's had good reviews. It's a good record, and I hope everybody who gets to hear it thinks the same as well at some point.
Of course, absolutely. Anyway, I mean, you deal with a number of different subjects on the record as well. For example, the song "A Field of Our Own," which is about you moving to Wales, where because you now live down in Wales, which has been. Has that change of scene also affected you as a songwriter and your view on life as well, do you think?
Yeah, well, a little bit. I mean, originally the new album was going to be a new My Darling Clementine record, and quite a lot of the themes of the songs that I've been writing were about a change of life, moving from the city, living in the country, a change of pace, a change of, I mean, it's been well documented. Songwriters leaving, getting it together in the country
I was
for
thinking
years.
Ronnie Lane and people like that.
Yeah, exactly. In fact, where we live is 10 miles up the road from
Right.
Ronnie Lane's old farm.
Yeah.
Van Morrison, I'll take my pen and write my songs among the rolling hills. I mean, it's been done many times, but that's how it appealed to me. We are living there. I love living there, and so A Field of Our Own is all about let's get away from the concrete and clay. Let's go and live in the country, and I think we'll be better for it. As it's turned out, we have been better for it. And also it became a place of refuge after what had happened to us. I personally really would have struggled even more than I have had we still been living in Manchester or in Birmingham. Where we are now has been a bolt hole, a sanctuary, and it gets mentioned quite a lot in the songs. In the Golden Hour it's talked about. Back down on the farm, the nights are drawing in. Some summers last forever, some never begin. It references A Field of Our Own is about moving there. It's a song called Into the West.
Yes.
Another one which is about.
I wondered if that was directly about that, maybe.
It is, Well, Into the West comes from. I've become a bit of an obsessive of the poet R.S. Thomas. And there's a brilliant book written about him, a biography called The Man Who Went Into the West. And it was the first book I read when we moved to the new house, and I just loved the book. And ended up writing this song, Into the West, which is about us moving into the West. And at the end of the piece, there is a recital of one of R.S. Thomas' poems.
I wanted to ask you, is that actually what that is? I didn't realise that's what that was.
Yes, it is, my son Oliver, who is a poet, a professional poet, makes his living as a poet, which is amazing. I took some lines from one of his poems and put them into that song, but the very end section where he narrates are a few lines written by R.S. Thomas. So it's kind of tied it all together, really. But again, that's another one about moving from one place to another, change of life, change of attitude. That's prevalent throughout the record as well.
I mean, could you tell me a little bit about some of the collaborators you've worked with on the new record? Some of them are familiar because you've got members from Richard Hawley's band again, haven't you? You've worked with them before with Clemens.
Many years now, Well, three in particular. Colin Elliott, who co-produces, a wonderful all-round musician, great bass player in particular. Dean Beresford on drums and Cher Sheridan on guitar. They are three of the four members of Richard's band, but they've been playing with us since the second My Darling Clementine record, which was 2013. So
hard to imagine, where does the time go?
I know, yes, that's 13 years now. So wonderful people as well as great players. So I recorded 3 songs with them from from Afresh, La Bamba in the Rain, The Golden Hour, and Die of Shame, which are sort of more band type numbers.
Yeah.
And then the others I recorded with a wonderful musician called Clovis Phillips at a small rural studio near where I live in Wales. And then the whole thing was mixed by Colin, which kind of gives it a kind of unity, I think. So the songs recorded in one place don't seem out of kilter with the ones recorded. It feels like a whole thing.
The song, I don't so much want to go into the contents of it, but Die of Shame, it sounds very, someone used the term cinematic. It does sound, it's got a very big, quite widescreen kind of feel. Is that a fair comment?
Oh no, absolutely, No, we went full James Bond on it. Absolutely, but that song, that I've had that song kicking around for a long time. A friend of mine, the crime writer Mark Billingham, has a book called Die of Shame, and he was that.
Is that one of the Tom Thorne novels?
Yes,
it is.
Yeah.
I haven't read that one. I've got to read some of them.
Right. And that was going to be made into a TV show.
Right.
When I heard about this from Mark, I thought I'll have a go at writing the, Dennis Waterman. I'll write the theme tune. Yeah. So I wrote a song, or started to write a song called Die of Shame. But as is the way of these things, the TV company decided not to use that book, and they used another one with a different title. So that came to nothing, and I had this song knocking around for 4 or 5 years. But I always liked it, and I thought maybe at some point it'll find a home. And that is what's happened with it now. I changed a few lines, and it became basically a sort of a song about the nature of the paparazzi, and in particular the guys who are preying on the families in the Southport, taking photographs, selling them to the papers, capitalising on our grief. And so it kind of came out, and it fitted the that situation. So, but theme aside, I think it's quite a cinematic song. It's a big song, beautiful string arrangement from Colin Elliott. Shazzy's guitar solo is off the scale. It's great. So it's an exciting track, even if there is a bitterness at its lyrical heart.
Understood. To go back to, you mentioned Clovis Phillips before I sidetracked you there, but I don't actually know a lot about Clovis, but the other credits include Bill Callahan and Richard Thompson, apparently. So
Clovis has been working with... The reason I know Clovis is because he's worked closely for a number of years with an old friend of mine, Jeb Lloyd-Nichols.
Right.
And it was Jeb who introduced me to Clovis. We made an album together a few years ago called The Struggle. He's got a beautiful little studio in Mocktra. In
quite close here.
No, not the second. No,
another one.
As I was driving here, this is Mocktra, just outside Newtown.
Yes.
Converted stables. You've got a studio in there. But as well as being a great engineer, he's a brilliant musician, and one of those sickeningly talented people who can play anything. So those recordings that I made with him is basically me on guitar and voice, and Clovis doing pretty much everything else. We added little bits and pieces when we took it to Yellow Arch in Sheffield when we were mixing, but a lot of it is his work. A song like the title track, Nothing Can Hurt Me Anymore, apart from my singing and a little bit of acoustic guitar, it's all his sort of atmospheric guitar and subtle keyboards. So no, he's great, and consequently, yes, he's been working with other musicians from the States who've been sending stuff over, and he's been working with them, and yes, recent credits, albums that he will be on are those who you mentioned. I don't think who else now as well, but
like
it's great. He works with a lot of Welsh musicians, and but I think his reputation is only going to get bigger. I won't be able to afford him soon. He'll probably he'll be out my budget. He won't talk to me anymore. But,
I'm sure that won't be the case, really. Another one I like on the new album, though, you've got Erin Moran on Just a Girl. I really like that one. Where did that link come from? How did you end up working with her?
Erin, people know her as a girl called Eddie. That's her professional name. it's kind of a bit of a completing of a circle, really. Years and years ago, I was asked to play the Mojo Christmas quiz. And it was me, Peter Bruntnell.
Yes, you played in Conway recently, not too far from here.
Peter, yeah. A girl called Eddie and Thea Gilmore. The four of us were asked to play at this event, and we were all given. It was sponsored by Epiphone, part of the Gibson guitar, and we all got given a guitar for our endeavours. Anyway, I met Erin briefly there, who, unbeknownst to me at the time, had just made an album with Colin Elliott and Richard Hawley producing.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway,
6 degrees of separation.
Yeah, there you go. Cut forward a few years, and she made another album called Been Around, not with Colin or Richard. She recorded it in the States, and I loved it so much. It was really. This was about 2019. It kind of got me through COVID. I would go for drives and play this record over and over. It's a beautiful record. And I always thought at some point, and I dropped her a line, and we sort of started to exchange messages and everything. Yeah. And I just knew at some point, if I found the right song, I'd like her to sing. And that song, Just a Girl, just seemed to be the one. She is a huge devotee of Bacharach and David, and she loves all that kind of, the Carpenters and all that sort of classic early 70s singer-songwriter stuff. So it just seemed the right song, and I'm thrilled she's on the record.
It's interesting. You mentioned some of those names are amazing songwriting figures there, Bacharach, David, etc. But it's not. I mean, your new album. It's not. People tend to associate you, rightly or wrongly, with Americana and country and so forth. But it's not really a country album at all, is it? Really?
It's certainly not a country album, or even Americana, for whatever definition people give Americana. It's. Most of my stuff, certainly my solo stuff, singer-songwriter records, and the production depends on which way I want to go with it. The last album, The Struggle, was very much more quite a minimal, stripped down kind of. It's all about the songs. This album, the production levels are higher, and the production of each song is much more varied from track to track. So, but to me, it's a singer-songwriter record with elements of pop and rock and folk in there, bit of jazz even, it's but yeah, so those who've been appreciating the Clementine thing and the country side of things won't find much country on the album, but hopefully they'll find 11 good songs that they'll
plenty of other things to enjoy. But I think the thing about it is, you even when you were doing the Good Sons before, you kind of got lumped in with the Americana thing, but you were doing things like one thing that springs to mind is your cover of the great soul song, You Are Everything, you'd be doing stuff like that. And I know that in your own solo work, I mean, you've covered things like Scott Walker songs and Gilbert O'Sullivan. So, I mean, you've obviously got very Catholic taste as a listener as well as a performer.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, I love country music, and it had a big influence on me. But at the same time, I like lots of stuff, and I love soul music. And so quite often... with Lou and I in the later Clementine records, there's songs which are very soul orientated.
Yeah,
so that's always been part of my musical love as well, really. So, but this record, there's no twang, and there's plenty of tears, but there's no twang, and it's not a country record by any means, but what I hope it is, though, is higher melody. I think the Americana world, there's too many artists in working under the Americana banner who maybe are writing interesting lyrics or are making good records, but there's very little melody in a lot of those songs. And for me, that melody is king, and I think there's a lot of good melody on this album. Even though there's a lot to say as well, but I think there's some good melodies there, and so I'm as proud of those as much as anything else.
Great. I mean, you've been doing a lot of shows. You've got some more shows coming up. So, how have the new songs been going down in the live arena when you perform them?
Well, I haven't been out solo for a long time. The current shows are still Lou and I as My Darling Clementine. So what we've tended to do in the last 6 months, we do 2 sets. The first set is a trip through the Clementine catalogue, and the second half I pull up a chair and we do a kind of song swap. Lou plays a song at the piano, I play one on the guitar, and we go backwards and forwards. And these are the new songs, these are the solo songs that we are working on now. So we're very open about where the songs have come from, why we're doing them. So that really hits home with people. So these new songs, I would say, have been going down incredibly well. A difficult listen, obviously, for the audience, and a difficult thing to do to play them every night, but at the same time cathartic and rewarding, and we just feel that it has to be done, really. So they've been going down great, thanks.
Great. I mean, but are you hoping to do a solo tour with a full band to play the songs?
That is something that's going to happen later in the year. The guys who played on the record, the plan is to do some shows in the UK in December and early next year in Europe.
Right.
So these will be shows under my name,
yes.
not as Clementine.
Yeah.
And they'll focus on this record and my solo back catalogue, really. It would be nice to go out and do some gigs with a full band again, and also revisit some of my older songs, which I don't really do anymore, but it would be nice to do those, especially with the great players that I'm going to utilise later in the year.
Are there any songs from your earlier solo catalogue you'd like to revisit that you've not done recently?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. There's 2 or 3 songs which I really like from the last Good Sons album, Happiness, which I'm going to be in there, and then the songs from the solo albums, A Decent Man and A New Kind of Loneliness. There's a song called The Last Hurrah, a song called Let the Waves Break. There's quite a few songs that I definitely want to revisit and get into the...
I'd like to hear you do Celestial City again. I think that's a really good song. So.
That's, I mean, when I play solo, that song is still very much one I will do, because it's often requested. But it'd be great to do it with the band again. So, years ago, when I was touring as a songwriter trio with Peter Case and John Doe, we would play Celestial City, the 3 of us together, and that was great fun, actually.
Wow, that must have been amazing. I mean, those 2 guys were remarkable singer-songwriters, well, are remarkable singer-songwriters as well.
I was only emailing with John last week, actually, and the John Doe trio, he's got like a sort of acoustic folk thing, as well as still working with X. And but they're opening for Dylan.
Wow, are they really?
A couple of months' time, so...
Are they American shows that they're doing with him? Or? Well, that'd be quite something, I would say, so...
Yeah.
Wow. Anyway, I've dragged you away from it,
but
just to...
I'm always happy talking about other musicians.
Well,
much more interested than me.
But just to sort of finish up, really, to be honest, is Lou going to do another album, and is there going to be another My Darling Clementine album coming on in the near future?
Lou's definitely doing one. In fact, she's going to be starting in the next few weeks. As I say, the album's written. She's been performing some of these songs already. Very powerful, very strong songs. With these, though, I mean, I've written my album and she's written hers. We haven't collaborated at all, not in the writing, not in the recording. So she will go and make her record. I mean, she may well work with Colin and Dean and Chez and Clovis, but that's her thing, and this is mine. Next year, we'll see where we are. I've not really got any songs, maybe a couple that are left over that were going to be on the album, the Clementine album we never made, but it will mean a new bout of writing for a new Clementine record, and that's got to be done before we make one. So we'll see where we are.
Okay.
But we'll continue to play for sure, because we like travelling together. It's it's like, even though we get on each other's nerves, it's generally it's nicer touring with your wife than
of course,
a bunch of noisy blokes. Anyway, but no, hopefully there'll be a Clementine album next year. We'll see. But for now, it's the focus for me is this new solo record, and for Lou it will be her new solo album, which we're hoping will be out in September.
So just to finish off, Michael, obviously your new album is out now, so where are you going to be playing in the next couple of months so people can come and see you?
We've got UK shows on and off over the next 3 or 4 months. We're going out to Spain at the end of April to play a festival out there. we're touring Spain in September. We're going back to Germany and Holland in October. We just kind of, we're just working. We're just out playing. So just keep an eye on the website and come and see us. But the next gigs, depending on when this is going out, will be in Yorkshire.
That sounds good.
So we'll be in Yorkshire.
Okay, very good.
Over the Pennines.
So the new album is out. It's on the Continental Song City album, and it's available, I assume, from all good retailers, etc.
Everywhere, yeah.
Online.
It's out on vinyl, out on CD, and out on streaming, so you can get it from all the usual places. You can buy it from my site, you can buy it from CRS, the label site, or you can get it from a record shop. The vinyl is, unfortunately, I would have brought one to parade in front of the camera, but I've actually sold out of the initial amount.
I do actually have a CD up there, but it's all right. No, we'll add it in later on.
But the vinyl itself is a lovely thing. It comes on yellow vinyl, and it's a gatefold sleeve, and has shades of Veed and Fleece by Van Morrison on it.
Wonderful.
In the artwork. So,
wonderful. Yeah.
That tells you all you need to know.
An essential purchase, I think. Michael, thank you for being on the podcast. It's been a pleasure to have you here.
Tim, it's been a pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you.